Life is full of opportunities. Leadership is about taking those opportunities. Legacy is what you leave behind. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Dr. Mrs. Rajalakshmi Parthasarathi, a guru par excellence, who by the dint of her merit and sheer brilliance carved a niche for herself in the fields of journalism, education and social work. She even nursed a striking balance between her professional achievements and personal duties and has left behind a great legacy indeed. Traits that shine through her persona are behind the mammoth body of work that epitomizes the Padma Seshadri Bala Bhavan group of schools with talent and hard work, strength and compassion, the ability to go global and yet be deeply rooted in Indian tradition. As said by William Butler Yeats, and I quote, "Education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire." Salutations to our beloved Guru, Dr. Mrs. YGP, the reverential and inspirational soul in the field of education. She is the proud sculptor of the emotional, spiritual and intellectual well-being of all students. Ma'am, your selfless service in showering knowledge, competence and values to students was bountiful like the inexhaustible Akshaya Patram. You were a trendsetter and a visionary. I, Jeevita Krishna, along with Devi Kundavai of PSBB Nongambakam, take immense pleasure in welcoming you all to Day 29 of our YouTube channel, PSBB Vidya Shakti.
Vidya Shakti. Medha Shakti. Kalashraya Shakti.
Vidya Shakti.
Men may come and men may go, but PSBB will go on forever.
Let us pray to the God of supreme intelligence, who is hidden in all and the entire creation. He is Ganapati, who has the Chit, the light of Shiva, and the Shakti, the power of Parvati. May He illuminate our minds with intelligence and help us find peace and happiness.
Ganapate, Ganapate,
YGP ma'am was an aggressive learner, an educationist of highest order, an impactful leader, a great visionary, a dynamic entrepreneur, a woman of integrity, and an assertive disciplinarian. Travel to different spheres of this globe was not a mere sightseeing itinerary, but an experience for her. Her innate traits came to her aid not only in not missing any opportunity to learn newer ideas, but also in explaining the significance of the Indian practice in any given situation. The exemplary exploitation of her travel experiences added a new dimension to the Indian mind in imparting Indian culture to the outlanders in her own unique style. Her ASP, assimilate, share, and practice mantra enabled her to create a new system of education 40 years back, a system that is a rich amalgam of the modern and the oriental.
A liberal leader,
an ebullient explorer,
An epitome of knowledge.
and a truly exceptional individual.
The world is a book, and those who do not travel read only a page.
After globalization, traveling around the world is no big feat. But traveling around the world as early as 1962 seemed as challenging as climbing Mount Everest sounds today.
Be it a professional visit or a personal visit, YGP ma'am always made it a point to visit the schools there.
Our school is a collection of various ideologies from schools all around the world. But Mrs. YGP always added an Indian essence to these concepts. Let us catch a glimpse of some of the various destinations YGP ma'am had been to and the special souvenirs she had collected. The mind-boggling puzzles of the Math Lab, traveling around the globe in our social lab, enriching our knowledge and enhancing our vocabulary through the sophisticated plays of Shakespeare in our English lab. With the visit to the United States, YGP ma'am redefined the meaning of a lab. With labs for all subjects, learning is fun. The concept of labs have been ideally implemented as part of the teaching methods adopted by the PSBB group of schools.
When YGP ma'am visited Stuttgart, she came across the concept of holiday homeworks and activities. But these were not of the usual kind given in school. Mrs. YGP assigned her students assignments that fuel their creativity and curiosity. She encouraged students to explore the neighborhood and write detailed reports of their experience. Mrs. YGP organized cricket, athletics, football, and basketball coaching classes during the holidays.
If we can accept an apple as an apple and an orange as an orange, why can't we accept people for what they are? This quote was said by Swami Dayananda Saraswati. YGP ma'am was galvanized with this quote and also greatly inspired. Education is not only the transfer of knowledge but also transfer of cultures and values. Mrs. YGP believed that all her children were equally capable and talented. For those who found it difficult to understand or learn a subject, they were readily provided help by teachers in after-school hours.
Not forgetting her Indian roots, YGP ma'am added Indian music Veda and dance classes to the school's timetable. Mrs. YGP offered her students opportunities to present their talents and took them to various competitions and shows. YGP ma'am's encouragement and support has opened up many career choices for students in various fields rather than the usual academic professions. The best education I've ever received was through travel. YGP ma'am shared the joy of traveling with her students by taking them on field trips inland as well as abroad. Students recall that YGP ma'am was very adventurous and was always the first one to try out anything new, be it a different cuisine or a thrilling sport.
By this time, YGP ma'am had become very famous all around the world. She often met crowds of people who admired her and respected her. She had a habit of carrying around gifts to give to each of these people. Once, when YGP ma'am was traveling from Tashkent to Helsinki, she ran out of gifts to give to the cheering crowd who had assembled at every station. Promptly thinking, she took out a box of vermilion from her bag and applied it on everyone's foreheads. But being a teacher, she did not do so before explaining the advantages of vermilion. Another time, she had gone to the Epidaurus Theatre in Greece. After the show was over, the anchor came onto stage and said, Ma'am was caught off guard, but she regained her composure and went on the stage. When she was asked to sing something, she started singing the Gayatri Mantra without hesitation.
ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्.
There was silence, and then these incidents show that YGP ma'am was an advocate of Indian culture.
Thanks to her countless travels abroad, YGP ma'am created the most student-friendly environment possible in our school. The workload of students was kept to a minimum and concepts were learned, not memorized.
YGP ma'am's innumerable expeditions abroad have greatly helped in creating an international dimension to the PSVB group of schools.
Many teachers and heads were sent abroad to get an exposure to the various types of educational practices as part of the Fulbright Teacher Exchange. This helped the teachers enrich their teaching methods.
Thank you, ma'am, for your innumerable contributions
In shaping our institution. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Dr. Mrs. YGP and her dynamic presence in Margari concerts go hand in hand. Aparna Kumar, batch 2011 and Anirudh Kumar, batch 2015 present Pasaram 25 of the Tirupave, extolling Lord Krishna and imploring him for his gracious blessings.
ஒருத்தி மகனாய் பிறந்து ஒருத்தி மகனாய் பிறந்து ஓரிரவில் ஒருத்தி மகனாய் ஒளித்து வளர ஒருத்தி மகனாய் பிறந்து ஓரிரவில் ஒருத்தி மகனாய் ஒளித்து வளர தருக்கிலானாகி தாந்திங்கு நிறைந்த தருக்கிலானாகி தாந்திங்கு நிறைந்த கருத்தை பிழைப்பித்து கல்ஜல் வயிற்று கருத்தை பிழைப்பித்து கல்ஜல் வயிற்று நெருப்பென நின்ற நெடுமாறே நெருப்பென நின்ற நெடுமாலே உன்னை அறுத்தித்து வந்தோ பறித்தருத்தியாகு நெருப்பென நின்ற நெடுமாலே உன்னை அறுத்தித்து வந்தோ பறித்தருத்தியாகு திருத்தக செல்வமும் சேவகமும் யாபாடி திருத்தக செல்வமும் சேவகமும் யாபாடி வருத்தமும் தேர்ந்து மகிழ்ந்தோரம் பாவாய் வருத்தமும் தேர்ந்து மகிழ்ந்தோரம் பாவாய்
It is said that the world has two types of people, those who whistle and those who try. Musical whistling has a distinct characteristic of being both a universal and a unique art form. It is a way of communication and entertainment. Very few realize this artistic potential and groom themselves. Raksha whistles for us a Swarajati in Bilahari Ragam. Let us encourage the passionate whistler.
I'm Raksha. I'm going to whistle a Swarajati in the Ragam Bilahari.
Mrs. YGP was greatly impressed by the life and teachings of Sri Ramanuja, and that inspired her to pursue her research program in Vaishnavism. She received her doctorate in Vaishnavism in the year 1999 for her thesis on the topic Sri Ramanuja and his socio-religious thought. With the blessings of Sri APJ Abdul Kalam, it was released as a book in 2002. As an ardent devotee of Emberumanar, she organized the Ramanuja float on the occasion of his Sahasrabdi celebrations. Hundreds of students of PSBB participated in this colorful event. Mayura of 11C will render a song on Sri Ramanuja, accompanied by Aditi of 9C on the violin.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. I am Mayura Sridhar of class 11C PSBB Nungupakam. I am going to sing a song in praise of Swami Ramanuja, composed by Swami Embar and tuned by my grandmother N.C. Soundravalli, who is also cousin of Mrs. YGP ma'am. This is a small tribute to YGP ma'am.
பைங்கழலுந்தன் பல்லவமே விரலும் பாவனமாகிய பைந்துவராடை பதிந்த மருங்கழகும் பாவனமாகிய பைந்துவராடை பதிந்த மருங்கழகும் முக்கொடு முன்கையிலே திகமுக்கோ தன்னழகும் கொடு முன்கையில் ஏந்திய முக்கோ தன்னழகும் முன்னவ தந்திடு மொழிகள் இறைந்திடும் முழுவல் நிலாவழகும் முன்னவ தந்திடு மொழி மொழிகள் நிறைந்திடும் முறுவல் நிலாவழகும் கற்பகமே விழி கருணை இரண்டும் கமல கண்ணழகும் கற்பகமே விழி கருணை இரண்டும் கமல கண்ணழகும் காரிசுதங்குழல் சூடிய முடியில் கணநாச்சிகை அழகும் காரிசுதங்குழல் சூடிய முடியில் கணநாச்சிகை அழகும் எப்பொழுதும் எதிராசன் வடிவழகு எண்ணிதய துழதால் எப்பொழுதும் எதிராசன் வடிவழகு எண்ணிதய துழதால் இல்லை எனக்கெதிரில்லை இல்லை எனக்கெதிரே இல்லை எனக்கெதிரில்லை எனக்கெதிரில்லை எனக்கெதிரே எனக்கெதிரில்லை எனக்கெதிரில்லை எனக்கெதிரே இல்லை எனக்கெதிரே இல்லை எனக்கெதிரே.
YGP ma'am has taken commendable efforts to train and groom generations of students in a model of education that is an amalgamation of traditional values and modern and secular outlook. She strongly believed that the youth of today need to uphold the age-old value system as it is the values intertwined with the practices of changing times that mold one's personality. Here we have students presenting a Paricharcha.
YGP ma'am encouraged desirable modern cultural ideas and practices by still upholding the ancient one.
श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः।
मैं और विदय आपका इस कार्यक्रम में स्वागत करते हैं।
आज हम सभी छात्र श्रीमती राजलक्ष्मी जी प्राचीनता और आधुनिकता की प्रतिमूर्ति इस विषय पर एक परिचर्चा करने वाले हैं। हम सब जानते हैं कि हमारी राजलक्ष्मी मैम प्राचीन सभ्यता और आधुनिक सभ्यता को बढ़ावा देती थी। आज हमारे एक ओर है वेदांत, जो राजलक्ष्मी मैम प्राचीन सभ्यता और संस्कृति की देवी है, इसका दिव्य दर्शन कराएंगे। वहीं दूसरी ओर दिशना है जो आधुनिकता का संगम करवाएंगी। चलिए सुनते हैं।
धन्यवाद विदय। श्रीमती राजलक्ष्मी जी एक भारतीय पत्रकार, शिक्षाविद, समाज सेविका, दया, करुणा की मूर्ति, ज्ञान का भंडार, या यूं कहें कि हमारी कल्प वृक्ष तथा हमारे स्कूल की संस्थापक थी। जिस समय एंग्लो इंडियन सिस्टम लोकप्रिय हो रहा था, श्रीमती राजलक्ष्मी जी का सपना था कि प्राचीन सभ्यता को शिक्षा में लागू करें। उन्होंने निरंतर परीक्षाओं का नियम बनाया। मातृ पितृ पूजन, गो पूजन, तुलसी वंदन, वयोवृद्ध पूजन इत्यादि विभिन्न अन्य संस्कृतियों और विरासतों को अपने विद्यालय में लाई और उसे बनाए रखा ताकि बच्चे अपने माता पिता का आदर कर सकें। उन्होंने विभिन्न अन्य संस्कृतियों को जैसे कोनकोल, संगीत, भरतनाट्यम एवं शिक्षा की प्राचीन प्रणालियों को अपने विद्यालय में संजोए रखा, जिसका सबसे बड़ा उदाहरण है कि हम सभी एक दूसरे को नमन तथा अपने दिन की शुरुआत भी श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः कहकर ही करते हैं। YGP ma'am introduced the ancient art form of Kanakol and the thematic samskaras of Tulsi Vandanam and Go Vandanam to nurture and develop the inherent cultural and spiritual consciousness in the young minds of students. चलिए दिशना की राय सुनते हैं।
धन्यवाद वेदांत। पद्मश्री अवार्ड विभूषित साहित्य तथा शिक्षा में अनेक रूप से सम्मानित हमारी YGP मैम ने छात्रों के अंतर्मुखी तथा बहिर्मुखी प्रतिभा को निखारा। उन्होंने हमेशा नारी शिक्षा को बढ़ावा दिया। शिक्षा प्रणाली में भी विविधता एवं आधुनिकता लाई। विद्यालय के प्रत्येक कार्यक्रम में अपने अनोखे विचारों का प्रदर्शन किया है। हमारे विद्यालय में सभी राष्ट्रीय और सामाजिक पर्वों के अतिरिक्त विज्ञान, गणित, साहित्य दिवस भी मनाया जाता है, जिसमें देश विदेश की मशहूर हस्तियों को आमंत्रित करके छात्रों का मनोबल तथा ज्ञान बढ़ाया जाता है। इस तरह हमें पता चलता है कि श्रीमती YGP मैम ने कदम कदम पर आधुनिकता को अपनाकर छात्रों को सर्वांगीण विकास का मार्ग दिखाया है। YGP मैम introduced new ideas and methodologies to hone and shape young and brilliant minds into high achievers.
मैं दिशना और वेदांत दोनों की बातों से सहमत हूँ। दोनों ने अपनी बात खूबसूरती से प्रकट की। आइए हम अपने आप से एक वादा करें कि भारतीय संस्कृति तथा सभ्यता को बनाए रखेंगे और विश्व पटल पर YGP मैम का नाम रोशन करेंगे। धन्यवाद।
YGP ma'am believed that the tradition and culture of yesteryears could very well be adapted to changing modern times.
Our Kala patron, Dr. Mrs. YGP, evinced keen interest and encouraged all styles and genres of Eastern and Western dances. Snake dance is unique to the southern part of India, born out of reverence for snake as a protective divine force. The dancers simulate the movements of the snake. Rhythm, poise, dignity, majesty and flexibility. Can we ever imagine them entwined? Get ready for a stunning audiovisual treat.
நாதர் முடி மேலிருக்கும் நாகப்பாம்பே, நச்சுப்பையை வைத்திருக்கும் நல்ல பாம்பே, பாதாளத்தில் குடி போகும் பைக்குள் பாம்பே, ஆடி பாடி நின்று விளையாடு பாம்பே, ஆடு பாம்பே, விளையாடு பாம்பே, நீ ஆடு பாம்பே, விளையாடு பாம்பே, நீ ஆடு பாம்பே, விளையாடு பாம்பே, நீ ஆடு பாம்பே, விளையாடு பாம்பே. குற்றமற்ற சிவனார்க்கு குண்டலமானாய், குறும் திருமாலினிற்கு குடையானாய், கற்றை குழல் பார்வதிக்கு கங்கணமானாய், கரவாமல் நின்று விளையாடு பாம்பே, நீயாடு பாம்பே, 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 விளையாடு பாம்பே.
Vandanam is offering obeisance to the Lord. It is a supreme form of reverence or prayer. In the Kirtanam Vande Vasudevam, the poet compares Vasudeva to a shining blue lotus, his body smeared with the sandal paste and adorned with the mandara flowers. Let us now witness a chiseled presentation of Vande Vasudevam, a composition of Annamacharya in Sri Ragam set to Kandachaputalam by architect Lekha Prasad, alumna PSBB Nungambakam, batch of 2013.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. YGP ma'am, a visionary par excellence. Be it her unique techniques in academics or the numerous opportunities she provided in culturals, it has helped me identify my interests and talents which probably I was never aware of. This has inspired me to take arts and academics hand in hand for my future. I am ever grateful and blessed to be a PSBB.
Vande Vasudevam Sripatim Vande Vasudevam Sripatim Vande Vasudevam Vrindaragadish Vandita Padajam Vrindaragadish Indivarasyamam Indira Kuchadati Chandanani Talasa Charu Deham Indivarasyamam Indira Kuchadati Chandanani Talasa Charu Deham Mandara Marika Makuta Samshobhitam Mandara Marika Makuta Samshobhitam Kandarpajanakam Arabindanabam Kandarpajanakam Arabindanabam Gari sari sari mari mabani mabani sari gari gari sari re sani bani bani mabani gari sari re gari sari sari mari mabani mabani sari gari re gari sari re sani bani bani mabani gari sari mari baba mabani baba mabani bani sari re gari sari re sani badani mabani gari sa Vande Vasudevam Sripatim
A teacher is the spark who ignites the inner rocket to reach the heights of success. YGP ma'am was one such gem in the lives of many. School memories are filled with golden moments and always live in our hearts. What else can be more nostalgic and delightful than reminiscing the good old days? We have with us 6 esteemed alumni. Mr. TSS Krishnan, CEO Appaswamy Real Estates, batch of 1977 Nungambakam, Kalai Ilamani, Miss S. Shruti, batch of 2020 Nungambakam, Mr. Anand, batch of 1998, Mr. Kaja Moinuddin, batch of 1993, and Mr. Shreyas, batch of 2015 from KK Nagar branch, who shared their interactions with Mrs. YGP during the school anniversaries, and Miss Prabha Sarangi, who holds postdoctoral research fellowship at Harvard, batch of 2002, PSBB KK Nagar.
Hello everybody. My name is Krishnan, TSS Krishnan, and I'm a student of the 1977 batch. I wanted to recount an interesting tale that happened back then. We were studying in the Nungambakam school and I was taking a test on the 3rd floor. And I had forgotten some papers in the ground floor where we had taken the earlier test before lunch. So I needed them, possibly a geometry box or whatever. So I had to rush downstairs, and I was permitted by the teachers to just pick it and rush back. So I went down, and as I was going in the stairs, I happened to bump into a teacher. So I apologized to her quickly and went on because I was in a hurry. But Mr. Ramchandran, who had observed this, decided that, my apology was not contrite enough. So he decided to inform Mrs. YGP about this incident, and I was summoned to her office. So Mrs. YGP starts by saying, so young man, you bump into your teachers and don't bother to apologize. I said, no, big miss, I did apologize. In fact, after that I apologized many times. And at that time also I told her sorry. But, we knew her well and knew she wouldn't take it amiss. So I was rushing to pick up the stuff. She said, well, that's okay if you have apologized after that. But tell me, I hear from your teachers that you think you know better than them. Do you believe that you know better than your teachers? And I was this not so humble creature. So I answered her, yes, sometimes. And a resounding slap from her left hand landed on my right cheek, saying, how dare you? So I kept quiet. I was shaken, but had expected that something like this might happen. Then she told me, I like your confidence. And be confident. Don't let this bother you. I was wondering. I'll also talk to my teachers and find why students believe that they know better than them. It was a remarkable thing for a principal to decide to introspect instead of just disciplining the student. She had decided to introspect and look up and speak to her teachers and find out whether it was true. And that showed the desire to learn and improve all the time of Mrs. YGP. She was an amazing person. She also told me at the end, that slap was not to deter your confidence, but your arrogance. Take care. That was Mrs. YGP for you.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. I, Shruti, alumna of PSBB Nungambakam, will always remember my friend, philosopher and guide, Dr. Mrs. YGP's Taraka Mantra. More things are wrought by prayer than this world dreams of. When, in 2008, myself and my father jointly performed in a skit in Dad and I program as a part of the PSBB's Golden Jubilee celebrations, I was literally on cloud 9 when Mrs. YGP appreciated and highlighted our performance, the play and the photos in various levels, in different formats throughout the year. During the very same year, Mrs. YGP patiently presided over my 4 hours multifaceted performance when I was a 5-year-old, comprising of Bharatnatyam, Carnatic vocal, religious discourse and a mythology play, in commemoration of my grandfather, Mr. R.S. Manohar's birth anniversary, that she heaped immense praise upon my artistic talents that will remain etched in my memory forever. On St. Ramanuja's 1000th birth anniversary, Mrs. YGP gave me a golden opportunity to dance along with my schoolmates at Triplicane Shri Parthasarathi Swami Temple and Mylapore Shri Adikeshava Perumal Temple in her presence that was very well appreciated by her when I performed as Mrs. YGP herself in her very presence during the 60th school anniversary celebrations. My striking resemblance as Mrs. YGP in her late 20s, be it through my body language, dialogue delivery, I gained such a recognition that I'm still being addressed by one and all as Mrs. YGP, most notably by Mr. YG Rajendra himself. I'm deeply privileged and fortunate to have got this unique opportunity. While I had enacted in the role of Lord Krishna during the 61st anniversary celebrations, I had picturesquely portrayed what Mrs. YGP has imparted in her students, the salient features of Bhagavad Gita. While enacting in my stage play, Manasachi, Mrs. YGP was present on the inauguration day. She was so much impressed that she scheduled this play during Bharat Kalachar's Drama Festival on 25th August 2019. Unfortunately, she did not live to see our play on that day. But we performed as a fitting tribute to her in Mr. YGP Auditorium, full of PSVBians, teachers, and parents. I solemnly pledge to follow my Guru, Dr. Mrs. YGP's footsteps in upholding accountability, integrity, and responsibility in all my future endeavors.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Alumni of PSBB across generations share a common chord of connect with our dear founder. They passionately and spontaneously relive their interactions with Mrs. YGP during the school anniversary as touchstone moments. Let's listen to them recount their experiences.
My name is Anand Krishnamurthy. I finished school in 1998. My earliest fond memories of Mrs. YGP go back to 1985-86. I think around that time is when we staged the Jungle Book on the school stage, and I played Mowgli. So I was a primary school student. And as always, she was then very keenly involved in the staging of the school plays. So that's when my first interactions with her were. And well, ever since then, she has only referred to me as Mowgli. 32 years later, when I met her randomly at some event or somewhere else, and I'd go and meet her and greet her, and she'd say, "Hey Mowgli, how are you?" So that was how she always referred to me and always remembered me as, which I think is rather endearing and sweet. And that's one memory of Mrs. YGP that I will never forget.
Aladdin drama, 1991 school anniversary. YGP மேம் வந்து ஜீனி ஆஃப் த லேம்ப், நான் வந்து ஜீனி ஆஃப் த ரிங். ரிஹர்சல்ஸ் வந்து கேகே நகர்லேயும் டிபி ரோட்லேயும் ஒரு 10-15 தடவை பண்ணியிருப்போம். அதுக்கப்புறம் ஃபைனல் ஷோஸ் நாரத கண்ணா சபா. Just like all of us teenagers with full interest and commitment அவங்க perform பண்ணாங்க. So she displayed magical powers not only on the stage, all through her life. அவங்க வந்து she has had a magical life and has done a lot of magical things. And the magic continues.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. My name is Shreyas. I graduated in 2015 from PSBB KK Nagar. At the outset, I would like to thank the school for providing me this wonderful opportunity to speak about Mrs. YGP. It's truly a humbling experience for me to be here as an alumnus, especially amongst the ranks of generations of accomplished and talented alumni. Being the behemoth of theatre that she was, Mrs. YGP always had insights to provide after every performance. Whether they were small adjustments for the directors or critiques for the actors, she always knew how to push the performance further. And the way that she delivered her critique was also interesting to me. I don't know of a time that she's ever admonished or provided negative feedback about a student. She was always so caring and kind with her words, ever sure to point out what each student did well and then suggesting ways to improve. During such rehearsals, I'm sure every student is just filled with nervous, anxious energy, praying that they don't mess up, especially in front of YGP ma'am. And I'm sure she must have sensed that, because she always left us with words of encouragement to not only reinforce our self-esteem but to instill in us the confidence to reach for greater heights. Most of my interactions with YGP ma'am were through my involvement in theatre and the school's anniversary program every year. I participated in the anniversary for 4 years from 9th standard through 12th, and each year the anniversary is a gargantuan effort put on by the students, staff and the teachers, and at the helm of this effort is YGP ma'am. And that's never made more clear than on those final rehearsal days at TP Road branch. I can't speak for all the students, but to me at least, rehearsing under the watchful gaze of YGP ma'am always made the performance feel more real. Not out of fear of what she might say after the performance, but I think it was the larger than life presence that she carried with her. You could feel the air in the room change when she was around, and I think we all felt that to some extent during those rehearsals. Outside of the anniversaries, one of my most vivid memories of seeing Mrs. YGP was when we unexpectedly met her at an inter-school Shakespeare festival at Egmore Museum Theatre, where she was invited as a special guest. I and several other students were reenacting The Taming of the Shrew, which we had performed just weeks prior for the school anniversary, which YGP ma'am attended as well. Before our performance, we went to YGP ma'am in the audience to ask for her blessing, and afterwards she sat with us and took the time to talk to each of us about our experiences playing these characters, and she even had some historical trivia to tell us about this play. We ended up winning the competition, and it was made all the more special to be congratulated by Mrs. YGP. That day is one of my most cherished memories from school, and I have YGP ma'am to thank entirely for that.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. I'm Prabha Saringe. I graduated from the KK Nagar branch in 2002. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to relive some school memories. And one of the main reasons I have such fond memories of school is the central figure of YGP ma'am, who influenced us in many ways, both direct and indirect. Of the direct interactions, there are several that come to mind. One was after I played a rather small role in a play in the annual school day function. She had really liked the role. It was of Mother Earth, a colourful and nurturing personality, probably because she identified with it herself. Another incident was during the election campaigning for the school pupil leader in my 12th standard, and I gave the speech of support for my classmate Shreya Raghavan, and unfortunately I didn't do a good job because I was quite afraid of public speaking. And when I shamefacedly talked to her about it, she shrugged her shoulders and asked me to, and said that the key to becoming a good public speaker is to make a lot of mistakes and make them early. A piece of sound advice that I'm grateful for. I also remember her encouragement and praise after my 12th standard board exams. They were really very impactful at that time. And finally, I saw her in 2012, when many years after school, of course, and she was older and weaker and in a wheelchair. But even in that condition, and even in the midst of such a large crowd, she commanded huge respect and admiration from not just me, but from everyone there, which I think is testament to her role as a powerful leadership figure. So for me, and I think many other female students, that was the key influence that she had on us, that she showed by living proof that you can have a strong female leader who can do just as well, if not better than men. So to her and all my teachers, thank you for guiding me and for contributing to my personal growth and helping me achieve my potential in life. And thank you for your attention. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Dalai Lama once said, "When educating the minds of youth, we must never forget to educate their hearts." Our PSBB has always been there for its students and has not only inculcated education but also moral values in the students. Keeping in mind that tradition is not to preserve the ashes but to pass on the flame, our Dr. Mrs. YGP had always believed that our tradition and education go hand in hand and lead to a bright and radiant future. We as students will always strive to work hard for a successful future along with the guidance and support of our teachers. I hope today's program brought a smile on your face and has left you with a cheerful spirit. Do tune in tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. for another fabulous tribute to our beloved Dr. Mrs. YGP. Saying so, I wish to conclude by quoting Marian Wright Edelman. Education is for improving the lives of others and for leaving your community and world better than you had found it. Thank you. Signing off, Devi Kundavai Nachar and Jeevita Krishna, PSBB Nungambakam. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
विद्याशक्ति मेधाशक्ति